Good evening and welcome to the 20th Annual New Voices in Children's Literature Taasy Walden Awards celebration. I'm Eric Dillner, the CEO of Shoreline Arts Alliance, and we're so glad you are here to join us in celebrating and recognizing talented children's book writers from right here in Connecticut. What an amazing week we've had getting to know our winners of the Taasy Awards. Who was Taasy Walden? Catherine Giselle Walden, Taasy, was an accomplished champion of children's literature, was a generous and beloved member of Connecticut's literary and library community, a graduate of Vassar College, earning a master's degrees in both education and library science. She taught in New York City and in Guilford, and served as president of the Connecticut State Library Association. She taught children's literature at Connecticut College and was active with the Literacy Volunteers of America. In short, Taasy understood excellence in children's literature. Like Taasy, we know that art forms of creative writing and illustration require reasoning, decision-making, thinking creatively, problem-solving, and visualizing, each of which are essential to successful lives. Artists, your work encourages and builds social connection, especially today as we find ourselves looking through the lens of a camera to celebrate together. It's with deep gratitude we thank Taasy for her inspiration to create such an opportunity for these artists. Each year we ask the judges to review and critique the work on merit, not on the intent to give an award. This year, our extraordinary selection of entrants not only have great merit and promise, but captured awards as winners, honorable mentions, and finalists. This year, we're so proud that we have winners in all categories except for illustrator portfolio category. It's with utmost gratitude that we thank all of our volunteers, especially our judges, who work tirelessly to review and critique our Connecticut artists. We're so fortunate tonight to have Jenny Dunham, owner of Dunham Literary in New York City, here with us tonight. In the same year that she founded her own agency, she became one of our first Taasy judges. She is the only judge who has been with us for all 20 years. Thank you so much, Jenny, for helping us build this amazing opportunity for Connecticut artists. Jenny, I hope you'll share a few words with us.
Thank you so much. I feel really pleased and honored to be involved with this award. 20 years ago, when I was first approached, I said, yes, I'll judge, but will you have me for 2 years? I was so excited about it. I grew up in Connecticut, so it meant a lot to me that there was going to be an award that really featured and fostered Connecticut writers. And there's something different about this award that I don't see in most awards, and that is that every single entrant gets their work in front of an agent through the submission process, because the first round of judges are all agents. This mirrors the process of traditional publishing, and the finalists go on to be judged by an editor. Now, writing is a very solitary process, and it's a long process, revising, critique groups, etc. And there's a separate process in getting published once one has become a writer. So I was very impressed that this group who put the award together was thoughtful about making sure that each one of the entrants would get their work in front of an industry professional, not just another writer who can't necessarily make something happen in the industry for an entrant to this award, but industry professionals, agents and editors who want to sell books and buy books. That's how to make it happen, which is what writers want. So I was really, really pleased about this, and I've been doing it for 20 years. Every year I get those submissions in, and I'm excited. I bring my whole staff in usually. This year was very different. And we celebrate, look at this, what's going here, what is this writer trying to do, and we discuss them all. And ultimately, I choose the ones that I want to pass on as finalists. I also want to share something that happened recently that explains a little bit about how important this is. So I receive queries every day as an agent, and I receive thousands and thousands of them, and I can't respond to every single one. So an opportunity to have a writer's work in front of me that I'm really going to read the actual manuscript is a way to get them above the slush. And the award has become, because it has helped so many people get published, it does mean something. So when I get a query letter in, it says someone was a Taasy finalist or winner, I pay special attention. And recently, earlier this month, I went to a conference where I was online, and I was asked to critique various different writers' works. They want to roll up their sleeves and get better. They weren't pitches. I wasn't just saying yes or no, I want to work with you or I don't. They were critiques. I was supposed to give solid advice and guidance on how they could level up and, eventually get published. And the best submission came from someone who was a Taasy finalist. So at the end, she said, would you be interested in hearing from me? And I said, well, this was the best one. And I saw that you were a Taasy finalist, so I had a feeling before even reading it that I was going to read something that had a lot of promise. So with that in mind, I want to thank everyone for keeping me for so long in this, associated with this great award. I hope we'll continue to work together. And congratulations to all tonight's winners. You really are taking the first steps towards something great in your writing career. Okay.
Thank you so much, Jenny. Wow. What service she's provided us and what great thoughts that she provokes for us and how we can continue on. Thank you again, Jenny. We so appreciate your time. And no, we're not letting you go. 20 years is just the beginning. So we'll see you soon, I hope. It's with great pleasure that I introduce to you Do Boyle. Do is an inspiration to us all. She's the backbone of these awards. She is why this program has flourished for 20 years. It's Do who we celebrate with the top honors tonight in my book. And I know you are all raising your glass to her, or maybe a lemon bar to her as I speak. She's an extraordinary woman who gives so much of herself to all the writers to guide and nurture them. I can't even begin to put into a number of how many children's lives she has impacted thanks to her guidance and love of book writers. Our champion, Do Boyle. Well, it's with great admiration that we present the 2020 Taasy Walden Awards. Beginning with picture book text finalists. They are Joanne Courtemanche, Mama, What If? Laura Jackson, Unicorns Do Not Eat Pickles. Beth Brody, A Place at the Table. Congratulations, finalists. Our winner in picture book text is Natasha Garnett for Daniela Makes Her Way. Natasha. Daniela, Natasha, we'd love to hear something from you tonight.
Thanks, Eric. I'm very excited about the Taasy's. Here's my super brief bio. San Francisco, Hanover, New Hampshire, Bolivia, Jeffrey, 4 daughters, women's rugby, poetry, cats, dogs, chocolate, and picture books. I'm a reader and a writer, and I like different kinds of reading and writing. I'd love to get a handwritten letter from a friend, and I really enjoy making a list. Who knows? It could become a poem. Right now, though, I'm spending time on picture books. It could be a pile from the library, or it could be the figurative pile of picture books on my computer that my critique partners patiently help me improve. But what about the pictures in picture books? I have illustrator wish lists for my stories. Which brings me to my Taasy submission, Daniela Makes Her Way. It is hugely illustration dependent, not only for the emotional heart of the story, but for its very specific setting. In Daniela, the setting is almost like a character. It's a rainforest beach town in Central America, warm, bright, vibrant, full of sounds and scents and animals. Then there's Daniela herself, the little girl who is making her way. Her destination is not as important as the fact that she's going on her own. And the independence makes her heart dance. I can't wait to see that illustration. All the friends who need Daniela's help are rainforest animals. Here are 3 of them: Lisano the lizard, Mona the howler monkey, and Despacita the sloth. And yes, they talk, which is a little controversial. And do they wear clothes? If I'm lucky, that'll be up to the editor and illustrator. Instead of describing the book I wrote, here's what inspired it. My daughter Nadia lives and teaches in Costa Rica. On a beautiful day when she was walking to the beach by herself, she sensed something nearby. Because she has low vision, she stopped and turned carefully and looked behind and down slowly. And there, barely visible on the gray curb, was a little gray sloth trying to cross the road. Nadia waved at the cars, hoping they'd slow down, and thank goodness a tour van pulled over and the driver got out to help. They stopped the traffic, and the man carried the sloth across the busy road. Whew. Nadia's delight was palpable when she called to tell us. And 3 things in this sloth rescue story spoke to me: the joy of heading out on her own, the pretty much miraculous fact that she saw the sloth, and the bravery it took to flag down some help. I told Nadia for sure there was a picture book in her story. My 3 critique groups helped me through a zillion versions of Daniela. Hello, and thank you all. Your creative minds are invaluable. Lastly, without bragging too much, I'm married to Jeffrey. He's here. Okay, enjoy our Taasy Zoom and keep writing and reading.
Thank you, Natasha. And now for our illustrated picture book writer-illustrator finalists. Charles Culvert, Penguin I Am. Lois Kennedy, Nana Loves You. Congratulations, finalists. Our winner in illustrated picture book writer-illustrator is Gabriella Svenningsen. What is a Memory? Gabriella, would you like to share a few words with us?
Yes, hi. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the Taasy Walden Awards and how important it's been for me. This is actually not the first time that I am submitting to this. It's the 3rd time that I am sending something into the Taasy Walden Awards. And the first time I sent something in, I've been writing picture books and writing and illustrating picture books for about 15 years now or so. And the first time that I sent something into the awards was the first time that I ever did any attempt to do anything with any of my books. And that was very important for me because I was recognized as a finalist, and it was an indication that I was on the right track, that this is something that I can do, and that my work stood out a little bit. And that really kept me going at that point. It was very inspiring, and it's an exciting thing to know that you're actually read in the industry. And it was crucial for my work. The second time that I sent something in, I was also recognized as a finalist. And it was really important, again, for me, and I was asked to show my work at an award ceremony. And I got a lot of good feedback, and I felt the sense of community that Taasy gave me. After this, in the last 2 years, I have only pitched 1 manuscript ever to publishers. And I did that in the last 2 years. And even though I'm still unpublished, this generated some interest, and it led to some really important conversations and to some contacts for me. And I believe that I also have the Taasy Walden Awards to thank for that, because that process to submit something really taught me how to submit a professional dummy, a professional pitch. And I realized that this presentation is crucial to being read and getting feedback. With all this in mind, I'm honored to have been recognized as the winner this year. Taasy is a great community, the Taasy family that Doe was talking about. I got so many kind notes from Taasy founders and from people affiliated with the Taasy. And the book that I submitted is called What is a Memory? It's a really important book for me. I've been thinking about it for a long time. You can say that it's a poetic journey between a poetic journey that kind of investigates what a memory is. And it can be used as a basis for a conversation between grown-up reader and the child about memories. So Eric, if you want to pull up the first slide. This is an example of one of the spreads in the book. And I was always interested in the magic of memories. It's like an abstract phenomena. It's triggered by very concrete things. And I think it's interesting how something really abstract like memories are so tied to objects, to places, to people, and how this phenomena is at the same time something very complicated and something very simple. So this book is, you can say, an investigation about memories, and it can lead to all these interesting conversations about it. If you want to pull up the second spread. So these two spreads are just examples of what the book looks like. And of course, when I made this book, I didn't know how timely it would be, as we are at the moment somehow isolated from each other, and we all we have is our memories. Memories of people that we love, of places that we went to, of treasured moments, of things that we love doing and perhaps can't do at the moment. And the ending of my book somehow comes up to that these memories, the meetings and the moments are what makes us human and what makes us unique in a way. And that's something that I think is really important to think about at this point in time. So I'm going to keep going. I got really, really interesting and good feedback from the judges also this year. So I'm going to keep going with this book, and hopefully one day it will get published. Thanks.
Wonderful. Thank you, Gabriella. Congratulations. Moving on to our middle grade novel finalists. They are Kelly Kendra Hughes, Unplugged, Meg Weiss Riviera, Mangoes in the Snow, Jean Davies, Cast Off, and Dawn Michelle Mancarella, The Revenant of Stonington. Congratulations, middle grade novel finalists. In the middle grade novel, we also have an honorable mention. Paige Classy Przybylski, The Finders, got the wrong thing. The Finders. We're so glad that she's our honorable mention, and we'd love to hear a few words from Paige as well. Paige?
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be speaking with you guys today. A little bit about myself. I'm a Connecticut native. I spent 6 years as a high school English teacher before making the transition to middle school library media specialist back in 2017. Why do I write? Because I read. Writing for me has stemmed naturally from a lifelong passion for, some might say obsession with, reading. I feel very fortunate to have grown up with Harry Potter and Hermione Granger, Frodo, Holden Caulfield, Charlie from The Perks of Being a Wallflower, and countless others. Reading their stories really inspired my own. Also, my work as an educator has inspired and shaped my writing. I love hearing from students, particularly from my 6th through 8th grade book clubs, about their lives and what they're reading, what they loved, what they hated. They're very honest. The books that made them cry. They remind me what is timeless about being 12 or 13, but also show me what it's like to be 12 or 13 in 2020. So why did I write The Finders? My goals were really threefold as I was writing: to write the kind of book my students would really enjoy, to write the kind of book I would have loved and needed at that age, and finally, to write the kind of adventure I'd like my son, who is currently 9 months old, to read one day. What is it about? The Finders is a middle grade fantasy novel that begins right here in Connecticut. Mags's wonderful, free-spirited aunt goes missing, but Mags is the only one concerned by the disappearance. The discovery of a book in her aunt's apartment sets in motion an adventure to another world, a harrowing rescue mission, and a journey of self-discovery. And thank you again.
Thank you, Paige, so much, and congratulations again. Our 2020 middle grade novel winner is Paula Kay McLaughlin for Renala, Sydney Parks, and the Bayab Tree. Paula, we'd love to hear a little bit from you as well.
Thanks, Eric. My manuscript is about Sydney Parks, an 11-year-old girl who loves nature, especially all things that grow from the earth. Sydney has a magic flair for growing. She can coax flowers to bloom and can hear the songs of trees and plants. While Sydney is an amazing gardener, I sadly am not. But lucky for me, the tools I needed to grow this story were my laptop, chocolate, and lots of coffee. Sydney's story begins when she learns there's a reason that she doesn't feel like she belongs in the inventor's world where she has been raised. She isn't an inventor, she's a flair. It turns out Sydney's true home is Renala, a cloaked island where flair folk live, people who can magically manipulate the 4 elements. But Renala is in trouble, of course, because there would be no story if there were no trouble. An evil flair, Darka, is destroying the Bayab tree that keeps the island afloat and breathes flare magic into the air. Sydney is Renala's earth reader. She is the only one able to see the words that are written about Renala's history on the pages of the Book of Ben, a book made from the pulp of the Bayab tree. And the key to saving the island's future is hidden in those pages about the past. Sydney, along with the other 3 elemental readers, must use their gifts to unlock the mysteries and the history of Renala to the Bayab tree. Before it dies, the island sinks and they all become fish food. So when I said that all I needed to grow this story was a laptop, that wasn't true. I have a lot of people to thank for supporting me over the years. My husband, who never complains about all the time I spend in front of my computer. My daughter Emily and son Ryan, who constantly cheer me on and repeat the words I've said to them over the years, never give up. Thanks to my writing conference buddy, Marie Tobin, who's read and critiqued this story. And a huge thank you to my closest writer friend, Kiki Hamilton, who must have wanted to pull her hair out when I told her I needed to revise this story one more time. Instead, Kiki told me to send her my new pages whenever I had them. Thanks, Kiki, for reading every draft and for your unwavering support and friendship. I'm so lucky to have an amazing local critique group, the Shoreline SCBWI, and I would like to say a special thanks to them, especially Doe Boyle and Leslie Connor, who are so kind, talented, and generous with their knowledge. They may not be aware, but it was their comments that helped to shape my first chapters and make them stronger. There are many more who have taught me and continue to teach me about the craft. They all deserve to be thanked, but there isn't time to listen to them all. However, I would like to acknowledge my writing partner, Luna, who sits beside me or on my lap or on my arm when I'm writing. Above all, I want to thank my mom, whom I miss every day. Growing up, she shared her wonder and awe of nature, which I carry with me today and which helped inspire Sydney's story. Finally, thank you to the Taasy organization and to all the good works the Shoreline Arts Alliance does for a variety of artists throughout the year. Thank you.
Thank you, Paula, so very much, and congratulations.
Thanks.
And now we move along to our young adult novel finalists. Ginger Morante, Flying Horses. Kelly Kendra Hughes, Red Rocks. Lynn Wilcox, Plastic High. Congratulations, finalists. And now our winner in the young adult novel, Kate Teachin for In a Nutshell, The Case of the Lady in the Bathtub. Katie?
Thank you, Eric. I'm so honored. I love murder mysteries, reading them, writing them, reading them again. When quarantine started back in March, like many of us, I needed a literary escape. And what I picked up first wasn't a lighthearted rom-com or a fantasy, but it was a Michael Connelly book that I'd already read at least twice. Maybe it's weird that my comfort read is a murder mystery, but maybe it makes perfect sense. After all, what are murder mysteries all about? The good guy catches the bad guy, restoring order to chaos. Justice is served, and we all need to hear a little bit more about that right now. I would love to thank everyone involved in the Taasy Walden Award, particularly Doe Boyle, Leslie Connor, and Leslie Bullion, who I would echo what Paula just said about how kind and generous all of them are. I have also learned so much participating in the Shoreline SCBWI critique groups. And lastly, I want to make sure to say thank you to my family for their ongoing support and encouragement, especially my mom, my dad, my sister and brother, my husband, and our 2 sons. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We so appreciate it. Congratulations. Moving on to our illustrator portfolio finalists, Tessa Griffin. Congratulations to you all. 2020 is clearly a great success. We have such a remarkable group of artists. And I'm so excited, and I have to say with great pride, I'd like to introduce Janae Marks. Janae won the middle grade novel as in the Taasy Walden Awards in 2017 with her manuscript From the Desk of Zoe Washington, which went on to sell at auction in 2-book deal to HarperCollins Catherine Tegen Books. It was published on January 14th, 2020, and received 4-star trade reviews, was #1 on the Kids Indie Next list, and is Junior Library Guild selection. Janae lives in Fairfield, Connecticut with her husband and daughter, and I am so pleased to have her here today to join us and share a little bit about her success. Janae Marks.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much. So first, I want to thank Doe and Eric for inviting me to speak tonight, and I want to thank the Shoreline Arts Alliance and all the judges for all of the work you do for this award every year. It's very exciting that we're at year 20 now. So I'm really excited to talk to you all about my experience winning the Taasy Walden Award and the part it played in my author journey. When I entered the Taasy Walden competition for the first time in 2017, I was already years into my journey to become a published author. I first started writing seriously in 2008 when I entered the New Schools Writing for Children MFA program. I graduated 2 years later in 2010, but by 2017, even though I'd written 4 manuscripts, I still didn't have an agent or a book deal. I'll be honest, it was tough dealing with all the rejection and disappointment along the way, as I realized that the first 3 books I wrote were not going to get me to my dream of becoming a published author. But I kept going and I kept writing. I learned a lot about grit and perseverance. The one thing that didn't waver during this time was my belief in myself. I felt in my gut that if I kept going, I'd eventually reach my dream. So when I first started writing my 4th manuscript, From the Desk of Zoe Washington, in 2016, it felt different. It felt like a much stronger concept than my other books. It had that elusive hook, higher stakes, and characters that I really believed in. Part of it was luck. I happened upon the idea after listening to a podcast, but I realized that the work I'd put into my previous 3 manuscripts, the ways they strengthened my writing, also got me to this point. I took a year to write and revise that manuscript, and then I started to query literary agents as well as submit my Taasy application. After I submitted to the Taasy's, I sort of forgot about the award. That's why in early May, when I got a phone call from an unfamiliar Connecticut number, I let it go to voicemail, like I usually do when I get a call from an unknown number. But as soon as I heard that the voicemail was from Doe and she was calling about the Taasy, I immediately called back and she told me the good news, that I'd won in the middle grade category. It was such an exciting day and moment. Later that month, I had the pleasure of being in the same position as all of tonight's winners, accepting the award. I'm sorry that tonight's ceremony can't be in person, but I hope that this year's winners and finalists and honorable mention winners feel the same amount of pride and accomplishment that I felt 3 years ago. Whether you won the Taasy or were named an honorable mention or finalist, this is an amazing honor and I congratulate all of you. And as Doe said earlier, if you're a writer listening that did not get selected this year, I congratulate you too, because writing your stories, submitting your work, putting yourself out there, all of that is an incredible act of bravery. Keep going and keep writing. So as you know, as you were just told, From the Desk of Zoe Washington went on to get me both an agent and a 2-book deal with Catherine Teagan Books. It just came out this past January, and it really has felt like a dream come true. One of the best parts is that the Taasy Walden is not only a competition and award, but it's also a community. Several members of this community came to my RJ Julia book event up in Madison in February, and it felt like such a full circle moment to read from the published edition in front of them. I sincerely hope that you all get to experience that kind of moment for yourself one day, that you'll get to hold a published copy of your book and see it on bookstores or library shelves, that you'll get to share it with young readers and have them tell you how much your book meant to them. I'm super excited to see all of your books in bookstores one day and in children's hands. There is so much more to come after this, and I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Janae. You're such an inspiration to all of us, and thank you so much for sharing with us tonight. Just a quick little commercial before we wrap up tonight. I want to thank so many people that make this possible. Number one, our New Voices in Children's Literature Taasy Walden Awards donors. Needless to say, there's no way we could do this without your continued support each year. Our season sponsors who help us just keep the lights on and help us keep moving forward in these challenging times, providing us things like Zoom contracts and those kind of things today. We can't thank you all enough for that. And of course, our founders. I can't thank you all enough for what you do. You all have brought this forward for 20 years, and we all know it's a new world today, and we're just looking for an exciting way to take this into the next 20 years. Our board of directors, which many of them are here tonight, celebrating with us, and work tirelessly to make sure that programs like this continue to thrive for us all. The Shoreline Arts Alliance's goal is to transform lives through the arts, and I know that you all transformed my life tonight, so I can't thank you enough for all the things that you've done. It's amazing to think about how you all will transform so many lives, so many children's lives in the years to come. My father has shared a tradition with my son since he was a baby. I bet you know what that tradition is. My father loves to read to my son. He was an elementary school principal, and he gets it. He gets the joy and love of children's books and what they do. Well, you'll never believe it, but last week my son called my father in St. Louis and said, "Could you read me a book from St. Louis to Connecticut?" And I know it brought a huge amount of joy to both my father and he to be able to do something like that. And in this virtual world, we have to find ways of doing that. And your inspiration as artists, giving us that opportunity to do that, is incredible. I thank you from the bottom of my heart, all the things that you do to lift our spirits. I urge you writers to keep writing, and illustrators keep illustrating. What you do matters more than you will ever know to all of us out here, those who enjoy your work. On behalf of the Shoreline Arts Alliance, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Keep writing, creating beautiful art, and please stay safe. Good night. Let's all celebrate with our families tonight. Good evening.